Ever feel like the world of money just like changes faster than a TikTok trend? Today, we're zeroing in on one of those big shifts, how baby boomers, folks nearing retirement age, can actually use commercial real estate in this crazy new world. We're digging into this Allies Commercial Realty piece sent in by you guys. And let me tell you, there's some hidden gold in here. Seriously.
Yeah, especially now, right? It's not just about boomers retiring. It's about how the whole thing, work, life, everything is transforming.
Totally. The article, it makes this great point about how younger people, they aren't exactly lining up for those 9-to-5 jobs like they used to. Side hustles, online businesses. Heck, even my teenager's saying he'd rather be a YouTuber than a lawyer.
And that shift, how people work, it completely changes what kind of spaces they need. We're not talking just a home office here and there. This is like fundamental change in the demand for commercial property.
So, okay, help me connect the dots.
Yeah.
Fewer folks in those big office buildings, more needing space for, I don't know, maybe a killer podcast studio or something.
See, think like ghost kitchens instead of massive restaurants, or co-working spots instead of these giant office towers. The whole landscape is shifting, literally. And that's where opportunity comes in for whoever owns the right kind of commercial space.
Which turns out a lot of baby boomers do. It's like this overlooked thing they have could be a diamond in the rough. And the article gives them specific advice. Appraisals, really knowing your local market, it's a lot to take in.
Oh, for sure. And each point matters, but if I had to pick the big one, especially for your listeners, it's that knowledge is power, right? Knowing the local market isn't just reading some reports. You got to get active.
Ooh, I like where you're going with this.
Yeah.
What does active look like in this case? Give us the real world version.
Talk to business owners in your area. Seriously, find out what kind of spaces they can't find. Are there suddenly tons of artisan bakeries, but nowhere that has like industrial ovens, boom, market signal?
So you're not just looking at empty buildings, you're seeing needs that aren't being met.
You got it. And that's where the article's point about brokers is huge. Could you handle a residential lease yourself? Maybe, sure. But commercial real estate, whole different ballgame.
Easy to think you can do it all solo, especially with so much info online these days. But they seem to really stress that a good broker, invaluable in this situation.
Think of it this way. Would you represent yourself in court? You'd want someone who knows the law, how to negotiate, someone looking out for you. A broker, they're like your legal eagle in the real estate world.
And for baby boomers, a lot of them are trying to protect what they've earned, right?
Yeah.
So avoiding mistakes, that's got to be huge. The peace of mind alone is probably worth a fortune.
Oh, 100%. It's not just about avoiding losses, though. A good broker, they can unlock hidden value, stuff you didn't even know was there.
Okay, now you've got me really intrigued. More about this hidden value after a quick break. Hidden value. I like the sound of that. It's like finding out that old painting in your attic is actually worth a fortune.
And sometimes you need that expert eye to spot it, right? That's where a group like Allies Commercial Realty, the folks behind this whole article, they come in, not just brokers, they do a whole bunch of stuff for this market.
Right. They mentioned asset disposition. Okay, got to be honest, that sounds kind of intimidating. What's that actually mean for like a regular person just getting into this?
Simpler than it sounds. It's basically selling your property strategically to make the most money. Think of it this way. You wouldn't sell like a vintage car the same way you sell a bike, right? Different approaches.
Okay, so it's about knowing what you've got and finding the right buyer, not just sticking a sign out front.
Exactly. And that's super important with commercial property, especially with all the changes we've been talking about.
They also mentioned a BOV. Is it just me? Or do real estate people love acronyms? What is that in plain English? And why should our listeners care?
Yeah, we do love our acronyms. BOV, that's broker opinion of value. Like an appraisal, but it goes deeper. Not just square footage, but like market trends, what the property could be used for, even how the neighborhood's changing, the people living there.
So instead of this is what other places sold for, it's this is what yours could be worth to the right person right now.
Nailed it. That kind of info is super valuable for planning your finances. The most accurate picture, not just some general guess.
And this is all part of what Allies provides, right?
100%. They're all about maximizing your return on investment. And a BOV is key for that. Helps you make good decisions, whether you're selling, renting it out, even just figuring out what to do with property you inherited.
Which, let's face it, is going to be a lot of folks in that baby boomer generation.
Mm-hmm.
But they're also in this unique spot to benefit from the changing work styles we talked about earlier.
For sure. And one thing people miss, but Allies mentions it, is tenant relationships.
That seems kind of minor, but I'm guessing it ties into the bigger picture.
Oh yeah, huge. It's easy to get caught up in the money, the sale price, the rent checks. But a good tenant, man, that's golden. Think about it. Steady income, less hassle, someone who actually cares about the place. That's priceless.
Like the difference between a stock that pays dividends reliably and one that's up and down all the time. You want that smooth sailing.
You got it. And that's where Ally's understanding this new generation of entrepreneurs, the new businesses, that's their sweet spot. They're not just filling space, they're finding the right fit for the long term.
Which makes sense, right? We've been saying this is about the long game, especially for boomers. Not flipping a property, but real lasting security.
Exactly. And it ties into legacy, which the article mentions. Not just the money you have, but what you do with it. How are you shaping the future?
Legacy. Yeah, that's a powerful word for this generation. They've worked hard, built their lives. Now they're thinking about what they leave behind.
And it's not always about money, it's about values too. Supporting new businesses, new ideas, being part of something bigger. That's a legacy right there.
It's like you're not just leaving a building, you're leaving part of how you see the community, right? Maybe it's that bakery we mentioned, or some tech company making new jobs. That impact spreads.
No doubt. It's about understanding that value isn't just dollars, it's the impact you have, the chances you create, the difference you make.
We really went deep there. Started with commercial real estate, ended up talking about legacy and changing the world.
It's all connected. Hopefully your listeners are getting ideas, not just about property, but using it to do something really meaningful.
I'm with you on that. So to everyone listening, knowledge is power. Do your research, find the experts, and don't be afraid to think big about your own real estate journey. We'll see you next time. Tenant relationships, huh? Sounds so, basic.
Yeah.
But I bet it's something people forget about in the grand scheme of things.
You'd be surprised. Everyone gets hung up on the numbers, the sale price, the rent checks. But a good tenant, that's worth more than they realize. Steady income, less turnover, someone who takes care of the property. Can't put a price tag on that.
It's like, I don't know, the difference between a stock that pays you regularly and one that's all over the place. You want that stability.
Exactly. And that's what Allies gets, this new wave of entrepreneurs and small businesses. That's where their expertise lies. Finding the right tenant for the long haul, not just filling a space.
Makes sense, given everything we've been saying. This isn't about a quick buck. It's about long-term strategy for baby boomers, real security.
100%. And it goes even deeper than that, touches on that legacy idea the article mentioned. Not just the money itself, but what you do with it, how you impact the future,
Legacy. Yeah, that's a big one for this generation, isn't it? They've worked their tails off, built their lives. Now it's about what they leave behind.
And it's more than just dollars and cents. It's about supporting those new businesses, those fresh ideas, being part of something bigger. That's a legacy.
So you're not just leaving a building. You're leaving behind. What? Like a vision for the community, that bakery we talked about, maybe. Or a tech startup that brings in jobs. That impact goes a long way.
No doubt about it. It's about recognizing that value isn't just on a spreadsheet. It's about the impact you have, the chances you create, the difference you make.
Wow, we really went there today. Started with commercial real estate, ended up talking about, changing the world. Not bad for a day's work.
It's all connected, right? Hopefully your listeners are walking away with some food for thought, not just managing property, but using it to make a real difference.
Absolutely. So everyone listening, remember, knowledge is power. Do your research, find those experts, and don't be afraid to think big about your real estate journey. Until next time, happy investing.
Get in touch with Allies Commercial Realty at info@alliescommercialrealty.com to find your ally in commercial real estate.